What's up, sports bettors? Monday night, I got a bunch of bets open. Hopefully, make some money. But regardless, on to the MLB tomorrow. We got 15 games. And I say this all the time, but sometimes the best betting opportunities, the biggest line discrepancies you're going to find as a sharp bettor are when sportsbooks first post odds, right? Oftentimes when books start to release odds for the upcoming day, there's discrepancies. They disagree on where the line should be set, and that means profitable betting opportunities. So I check OddsJam, the positive EV tool, typically the night before and look for plays for the upcoming day. So we're going to go through a couple of them. So my first play is right here. Okay, let's just go through it. Angels-Cardinals game, my bet's on FanDuel. I say this all the time. You want to get as many sports books as possible, right? You never know which book is going to slip up and offer profitable bets on a given day, right? Today I gave out a lot of plays on PrizePicks, some on FanDuel, some on Underdog Fantasy, all these different sports books. Because they all have different lines from one another, you want to have as many as possible. This bet's on FanDuel. You don't have FanDuel, you don't have access to this profitable bet. So anyways, let's go through how to use OddsJam. So when you're using the positive EV tool, it's pretty simple. What I do is I just select the sports books I use. I'm currently in Virginia. I think there's like 200 or something sports books on OddsJam. Again, the more you get, the better. And then I just look at the highest profit margin plays, right? So this is the top play. Right? The bet in bold and in green, this is what I want to go with. Over 8.5 runs at minus 110 in Angels Cardinals. This is our profit margin. And in sports betting, your profit margin is also known as your edge, right? Your edge, your profit margin, ROI, however you want to think about it. So if you're not really a math person and you just kind of want to know why I'm on the bet, it's really just value. Right? As a sports bettor, you're just like an investor. You're looking for value in the market. But what's so interesting about sports betting, fascinating, the reason I love it so much is in sports betting, all these books set different prices. Prices just means odds, right? All these books set lines independently. Right? So you can see here, FanDuel is posting odds, but so are a bunch of other sports books. These are all data points on where the line should be set. And just looking across all these sports books, what you're going to notice is all these other books have this line around minus 130, minus 135 odds, and we're getting minus 110 on FanDuel. So just from a gut check perspective, it's like, well, FanDuel has the same odds for the over and the under. Every other sportsbook, every other data point in the market has the over heavily favored, right? The over is heavily juiced. So just from like a gut check perspective, it's like, wow, this minus 110 kind of sticks out. All these other books have this around minus 130. So what OddsJam is doing is pretty simple. I'm not sure why my location isn't verifying, but regardless, what OddsJam is doing is pretty simple, right? It's just reading in odds from all these sports books. I mean, FanDuel alone, all these lines, OddsJam is reading in, right? FanDuel alone has 50,000 plus odds at any given time, right? So what OddsJam is doing is it's reading in all these lines from all these sports books, updating millions of odds, and just pointing out those rare few discrepancies that actually yield a profitable bet, right? So this is a profitable play with a profit margin of 2.31%. And a lot of people don't understand how powerful this is. Right? The edge on this bet, the profit margin on this bet is 2.31%. And that may seem small, but what you have to remember is this game's tomorrow, right? This game's going to be over in 24 hours. So in sports betting, your returns are daily. I mean, sometimes you'll be betting on the NFL. The games will be maybe a week away, 5 days away. But in general, when you're betting on the NBA, MLB, tennis, your bets are that day. So this is a 2.31% profit margin that we're getting in a day, right? This is a daily return. So if you're able to get, let's say, a 2.3% profit margin on all your plays throughout the month, there's 30 days in a month. So 2.3% times 30, right? You're going to have roughly a 70% ROI over the course of the month. So this is really why sports betting is so powerful. So long story short, this is the first play I went with. A calculator I talk about a lot is called a no-vig odds calculator. So basically the way that sportsbooks work, right? The way that all of these different bookmakers work is they charge a spread, right? They charge the vig. So you think about how a sportsbook makes money, right? It's not like I go to FanDuel. I can go to the NBA and I can bet on the Suns, right? I can bet $3, $5. There's no fee. It's not like FanDuel says, yo, you owe us, 20 cents for placing this bet. The way that sportsbooks make money is they charge a spread, right? The spread is called the vig, the juice, however you want to think about it. So essentially what sportsbooks do is they figure out, their models spit out odds that they think are true, right? So fair odds, true odds, no-vig odds, however you want to think about it. So essentially it's like a stockbroker or a car dealer, right? If you go into a car dealer, you want to sell your car to the car dealer, they'll say, hey, I think your car's worth $10,000. I'll buy it from you for $10,000. But they really think your car's worth more than $10,000 because they're buying it at $10,000. Right? If you go into a car dealer and they say, hey, I'll buy your car for $10,000, what they're going to do is they're going to turn around, try to sell your car for $15,000, right? They try to make that $5,000 spread, same as the VIG. So what sportsbooks do is, you can see Pinnacle right here, is they have a market with a 14-cent spread. So what you want to do is you want to remove that spread. So what this calculator does, a no-vig odds calculator, is it takes a sportsbook's market and removes the VIG, right? So essentially the no-vig odds are minus 118.75 for the over, plus 118.75 for the under. So essentially, according to Pinnacle right here, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they're saying, hey, what we truly believe the price on the over should be, given our model, all the action we've seen in the market. This is the smartest sportsbook out there. So this is what Pinnacle's saying. You put a lot of weight into their odds. So what the sharpest bookmaker is saying is, hey, the over should be roughly minus 119. The under should be plus 119. So then what the sportsbooks do is they bake in their spread, right? Pinnacle believes the true price with no vig, right? What their model is telling them is this should be priced at minus 119, but then they give you minus 126, right? If you're a Pinnacle Sportsbook user, you can bet this at minus 126. So all these sportsbooks, they're giving you worse odds than they think are fair, if you think about it, right? Just like if you go to a car dealer, he buys your car for 10 grand, it's because he thinks your car is worth more than $10,000 and he's going to be able to sell it for more. It's the same way a stockbroker works, right? They'll say, hey, I'll buy this stock for 10, I'll sell it for 11. So if they're buying the stock for 10, they're selling it for 11, they probably think the price is worth somewhere in the middle, 10.50, right? So you just remove that spread, and that's exactly what a no-vig odds calculator does. So essentially, according to Pinnacle, right, sharpest sportsbook in the world, they're saying the true price, the true odds, the fair odds on the overs minus 119. And we're getting minus 110. So we're getting better odds. So this no-vig odds column on OddsJam, this doesn't just look at Pinnacle, right? It looks at all the different sportsbooks. Every sportsbook is a data point, right? Every single sportsbook in the market is a data point telling you what the odds should be set at. So Caesars is slightly different than Pinnacle. They take action from different customers. They have different models, all these different types of things. So they have slightly different odds from one another. Right? So long story short, all these sportsbooks are saying the same thing. Hey, the over should be heavily favored. According to Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker out there, they're saying the over should be priced at minus 118.75. We're getting minus 110 on FanDuel, so we're getting better odds than the fair odds, right? So this is a profitable bet. And if this doesn't make sense, any questions, I'll include my email, in the description of this video. But long story short, what we can do is we can go to Caesars as well. So Caesars, a really big sports book, they have their market minus 137 plus 100. So they have a 37-cent spread. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker, only had a 14-cent spread, right? The sharper bookmakers tend to bake less vig, less juice into their market because they're accepting a lot more bets and they have a lot better models. So they're a lot more confident in their lines. So they don't have to bake in as much of a spread, right? So you can see right here, according to Caesars, the true price on the over with the vig removed would be minus 115.61. Once again, we're getting minus 110. We're getting better odds, so this plays profitable. Right? So long story short, that's kind of how the math works. If any of this is confusing, my email's in the description. You can email me. We also have, there's text. I recommend reading through this a few times about no-vig odds because this is by far, no question, hands down, most important calculator in sports betting. So long story short, first play I went with 2.31% profit margin. I bet it for $220. So if I go right here, I'm not sure why it still says location not verifying. You can see I have a bunch of different bets. $220, 2.31% profit margin. So this bet has a profit margin in dollars of $5. right? Slow and steady. $220, 2.31% profit margin, $5 in profit margin on this bet, right? It's just simple math. You just multiply your profit margin by your stake, 220, and that gets you your profit margin in dollars. So then let's get on to our next bet. Sometimes there's a lot of plays on FanDuel. Sometimes we'll find more early value on PrizePicks. It really depends, right? But today, the early value, at least in the MLB, is on FanDuel. So here you can see 1.29% profit margin. I bet this for 97.40. Phillies money line plus 154. I bet this for 97.40. I say this in every video, but I'm just showing you guys what I'm putting my own money on. And it may seem a little weird, like why did you bet it for only that amount? But what you're going to notice is if you look at these sports books, right? Like if I want to bet on the Guardians tomorrow, FanDuel says your max wager is 138.90, right? So sports books determine your max bet size. You don't, right? Like sports books can limit you to $10, to $1,000, to $50, whatever. Right? So sportsbooks determine your max bet size. You don't. So I bet both of these plays for the maximum that I could. And these bets, these max wager sizes are kind of random, like 138.90, pretty random. But regardless, that's what they're giving me if I want to bet on the Guardians money line on FanDuel for tomorrow. Right? So FanDuel, they've reduced my betting limit. So actually, this is pretty interesting. If I go ahead and I log out of my account, and then we go back to the Guardians money line. So if we just go ahead and we head back, where are they? To the Guardians money line, you're going to see if I wasn't logged in, they'd let me bet 2.778K, $2,778. So essentially what FanDuel is doing, because they know I'm profitable on them, I beat them long term, they've reduced my max bet size, right? So for a new customer, so when you log out, this shows you what a new customer would get, is they let you bet 2.8K. So if you're profitable on sportsbooks, they might cut down your bet size a bit. And it's just kind of part of the game, right? Because you can make money sports betting. So this play, slightly lower profit margin. We only bet it for 87.40. So this bet only has 187 in profit margin. So sports betting is kind of a rigged game, right? Because sportsbooks, you can easily make money sports betting, right? Positive EV betting, the math behind sports betting, finding inefficiencies in the market, this stuff makes you money. It's guaranteed by the law of large numbers, right? This play is absolutely profitable. The hard part is it's not scalable, right? It's not like I could say, oh, this play's profitable. I'm so good at math. I'm going to bet this for $15,000, right? Or $150,000. That's not how sports betting works. Books are fine. They know that they screw up occasionally. And they know sharp bettors are going to take advantage of those lines. So what they do is they just slightly reduce your bet sizes, right? And again, these bets were just for the sports books I use. I highly recommend getting as many bucks as you can, right? You can see the top play for tomorrow is actually on Fliff. Under 7 runs in Reds Padres. If you don't have Fliff, you're missing out on the most profitable bet on OddsJam for Tuesday, right? So you want to have as many of these sportsbook accounts as possible, right? And then you can just filter for the sportsbooks you use. So I mainly use Caesars, DraftKings, Fliff, Underdog Fantasy, WinBet, PrizePicks I also use FanDuel. So you just kind of set this up to be for the sportsbooks you use, and then you're good to go. So hopefully this video was helpful. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to reach out. Looks like I'm going to be giving out a lot of profitable bets on Fliff. No idea what they're doing, but I see a bunch of plays available. So I'm going to go dive into those, take advantage. But a few early bets on FanDuel. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much for your time.